Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica, and this is Leafolution, where I talk about a full range of encompassing ideas and practices, ways that reconnect us to nature, to Mother Earth, so that we may find healing, insight, and direction. The purpose of this video today, after some recent events, I was thinking about the importance of cycles and the importance of polarities, and how in polarities we find the extremes that show us the boundaries that we are operating within. And the beauty of having those boundaries then also means that we can better understand where the center might be, where we can find balance. And in those polarities, we see the extremes in all of us where we can honor those feelings that encompass everyone, feelings that we all experience at any given time. So with that, I am out at the park, so there may be ambient noise from people also out enjoying the park. I am going to show you a little bit of the area, and then I came out here to do a reading for us. And the intention of the reading is helping understand the importance of cycles and the importance of polarities in helping us recenter and find balance. Because I choose to see that even in our most extreme moments, there's always something for us to learn. And in that learning, should we choose to say yes to every opportunity being a moment to learn, that is when we find growth. And when we grow as individuals, we grow as a collective, and that can only be good for everyone. So I'll show you the area real quick, and then we'll go ahead and do the reading. So this is the tree that I am sitting behind. It's a beautiful tree. And there's the tree that hangs out next to her. And I'll go ahead and show you the other side, and then we'll do the reading. So across the way, those are the trees that I'm looking at. And there's the little opening outside of this marvelous little grove. So here we go. This is going to be a practice in one-handed casting as well. So there's my little runes. So I am asking, please, that we receive the message that we need as a collective right now. This is a timeless message, that anyone who comes upon it find the meaning and information that they need that is relevant to them, with the intention of this message speaking to the importance of cycles, the validity of polarity, and how we work with all of that in order to seek balance for the good of all. All right. So we have quite a few that came out, and I'm just looking real quick to kind of see what the initial message is that is coming out. So the very first thing I'd like to point out is we have two outliers who are sitting completely separate from the pile, independent, not touching any other runes or messages. So we have Ewaz, which represents the horse, and we have Laguz, which represents the lake. And both of these carry with them a particularly well, they can carry a particularly spiritual meaning or message behind them. They can have that type of energy. They're both associated with our higher chakra systems. So Laguz carries the energy of the third eye, and Ewaz carries with it the energy of our soul star chakra. So with these two coming out, there is, I feel, a suggestion that outlining all of the activity, everything that's happening within the collective, there were these two pieces that came out that talk about companionship. So with the horse, it's an understanding that we do not exist separate from nature, and that it is in connecting with nature that we are then able to transcend into enlightenment or into a greater way of being or seeing. And Laguz is the one that asks us to participate in self-reflection. And with that self-reflection, we always have the opportunity to say yes to move forward, or to say that we are okay where we are. So these right here indicate to me that on an individual level, everyone right now has a choice whether or not they want to turn inward and look for those self-development moments, and whether or not they want to look at the collective whole and the collective goodness and the collective struggles. Like, how do we incorporate all of that in order for us all to ascend together? So that is out there on the perimeter, available to those who are willing and want to say yes, to be that change, to help encompass reflection as personal growth and development. The next piece that I want to speak to, we have Oruz, Suelo, and Gabo, which came out as three touching each other but still sitting outside of the larger message. So these three are going to definitely be more in tandem. They are going to be energies that are inherently connected to each other for the understanding of this overall message. Uruz represents the auroch, which is an extinct form of oxen, or like a European buffalo, bison. Very, very large creatures. And it carries with it a sense of power, endurance. So we have that. We also have Suelo, which is the sun coming out. The sun also carries a very infinite power behind it. It is the celestial energy that creates all life on Earth. Without the light from the sun, we would not have plants. Without plants, we would not have the atmosphere that we need for breathing. We would not have food to fuel our bodies. So we have two powerful, overarching endurance pieces coming out. And with them came Gabo, which in a basic level is gifting or treasure. It's some type of item, whether it be physical, mental, spiritual, something that is going to enhance well-being, quality of life. So with these three coming out together, there's a real sense that we get to acknowledge that in our communities, in individuals, within our families, within our neighborhoods, with an understanding that each group and community has its own source of power and endurance, and that power can be used to shed light on something, some offering that can benefit another group. So this to me speaks of the power and the sustainability of what we choose to do. The next pieces that I will speak to we have over here Nades, which is the rune for necessity. So it speaks to a need, something that needs to be honored in order for a process to begin, to continue, or to end. So there's a sense of awareness that comes into play with this rune. And Nades was sitting on top, and below it we have 3 that were kind of in the same region. So we have Hagalaz, which is hail. I'm just going to pull these 3 out and then we'll talk about them as a group. We have Iwaz, which is the yew tree. And we have Wunjo, which is the rune of joy. So in this grouping, it's speaking a lot to alignment and balance in order to find joy, appreciating what alignment and balance can bring. So Hagalaz represents hail, and hail being a form of water carries with it emotion energy. The element of water is our emotion body. But hail is not free-flowing like a river. It does not have that stability or the capacity for reflection like a lake does. So remember, we had down here Laguz, the lake. So with hail, we're not getting the sense of reflection. We're not getting the sense of liquid, fluid movement of emotions. We do get a sense, though, of concentrated emotion that is coming in bursts. So it is emotion that has been locked up. And in the process of being locked and moving, it does cause destruction. So with Nades and Hagalaz coming out next to Iwaz and Wunjo, there is this sense that in order for these 2 to open and activate, we need to acknowledge where our emotions are stuck, and where those stuck emotions, they want to move, they want to have that freedom to express. And in that expression, we then have the ability for self-reflection to inform growth. Iwaz represents the yew tree, but also Yggdrasil, the tree of life, the world tree. So it encompasses all worlds. So down at the very bottom, we're rooted into the earth, and then all the way to the heavens, where we reach the skies and the universe source. So it has that energy of as above, so below. And it really calls forth the understanding that through alignment, full chakra alignment, earth star, all the way up to soul star, all the chakras that we don't typically hear of, full alignment and full awareness of these energy centers, that opening them and moving them properly is going to be the way that we're going to open up and access joy. And through that joy, we are going to be able to access these other messages that came through. So this rune, when it came out on its side. And I just realized I shouldn't have turned it that way because the camera's not going to flip. Whoops. So that rune is Jera. And Jera represents the year. It represents harvesting. So it represents that sense of knowing that what we have worked to produce does have a yield and an outcome. And when we have taken the time to nurture it so that we reach a place where we can harvest goods, we can harvest the benefits of the work that we've done, that we then have something to show for everything that we've done. The fact that it was on its side gives me a sense that from one direction it was completely blocked, and from another direction it was completely visible. So it really has that binary, that polarity, that understanding that some things are only visible from one perspective. And it's only by joining those perspectives and understanding those polarities that we are then able to fully collect the wisdom, the harvest, the produce, the plants that have come from the beginnings, from the seeds that we have planted. And I say that because this rune also came out, and this rune is Ingwaz. And Ingwaz is the seed energy. So it has, this one is tied to our heart chakra. And so it really asks us to go into that center, that place of love and nurturing, and understanding that creation is possible, and that through creation we have the journey and the process that allows us to arrive at a point where we have gained something, we have learned, we have grown, and from that we are wiser. And when we do the self-growth, when we say yes to the reflections, and we work within communities, then together we are able to share that wisdom, so that as a collective we're in a better place than we were prior to that growth and development. The final pieces that came out, we have Ansus, which at the core speaks to communication. So this one is tied with our throat chakra. And in communication, it's an understanding that there's a balance between speaking and listening. There is an understanding that communication is only possible when there is an exchange of ideas, when, regardless of whether or not all positions agree, whether or not all parties involved agree, that communication is that exchange of ideas. It is that exchange of perspective and points of view. And in that communication is where we begin to work as a collective, and we begin to have the opportunity for growth, because we are taking in ideas that we as individuals may not have considered on our own. So communication is a big component of this. We also had algas come out, and algas is tied to our root chakra, so really being grounded. It carries with it that energy of protection, that energy of stability. So in that stability, is where we are going to find the ability to move through all of these other components. Without those roots, without being rooted and grounded, it is hard to gain perspective on anything. So when we are rooted and when we are grounded, that also gives us the opportunity to ascend, to align, to give us that more comprehensive understanding, the bigger picture of everything. And the final rune that came for us is Fehu. And Fehu, so I'm gonna wait for just a little bit for the helicopter to move. Okay, so Fehu represents wealth. It represents fluid, mobile wealth. It represents energy of exchange, energy of money, energy of abundance. And in that energy, we find love. The energy of abundance. When I'm abundant, you also should be abundance. And it is through sharing that abundance that we all are able to have a full and rich experience. So, looking at everything all together, then, the main message about the importance of cycles and understanding the value of polarities, understanding how polarities give us the ability to understand and appreciate the center, that point of balance, that point of connection, of unity. What we are seeing here is that everyone at an individual level has the opportunity to say yes to being more self-reflective, to looking at places where we can grow, looking at those moments where, well, this situation makes me uncomfortable. Why does it make me uncomfortable? And in understanding that uncomfortableness, where then is there room for growth? And as we work together, so as we work individually on this, the stronger we become as individuals, the stronger we become as a collective, because then we have unique gifts and wisdom and experiences to share with others. And it is through communicating our experiences, our perspectives, our understandings, and being respectful of all voices, of all perspectives, that we are then able to root and ground ourselves so that we can plant seeds for the type of growth and development, for the type of products, ways of living, ways of being, what type of communities we want to have, so that as we plant those seeds and those ideas, we know that it is for a greater purpose, that it is for something where there will be a point in the growth cycle that we will be able to harvest something from that. We will have greater wisdom that we will be able to gain from that growing cycle. There is also a sense of strength and an understanding that perseverance is going to be important. Going through these changes and asking ourselves to do this reflection is not an easy job. It's not an easy task, especially when things trigger and they don't feel uncomfortable. Those are the precise moments that are available for the richest learning. And it is through continuing to say yes to those cycles of self-growth that we're going to be able to shine light and be able to create greater opportunities for growth. And in this, we are going to receive rewards. We're going to see processes unfold that benefit the individual as well as the community. And the way that this is going to happen, the way that we're going to have this overall joy and sense of well-being is through aligning. I'm going to wait a little bit again. The way that we find that joy is through aligning. It is through understanding our groundedness, our connection with nature, our connection with each other, that we are not in this alone, that what affects you affects me. It is an understanding that stuck emotions cause harm when they are released intermittently, when they don't have that proper flow, that there is the potential for damage. And so through aligning and creating that flow is what is going to help us unlock and align the rest of these pieces of this message. So that is the message that has come through when I asked for clarification on these energies around polarity that are happening right now, and the importance of cycles and understanding the benefit of each stage of a cycle. Thank you for watching, and thank you for appreciating everything that is happening in the natural environment around me. I am wishing you well, and if you one more moment. And I just want to point out that even that is a communication piece, right? So I get that it's a helicopter flying overhead, but there has to be a point in understanding that the helicopter flying overhead is not something that I can control. And the best thing for me to do then is to sit in silence and not try to compete, to be louder, to be over, to stand out over that which is happening in my environment. That is just an aside. But if you like what I'm doing here on my channel, please subscribe, like the videos, stick around for content. I do the Wednesday uploads for the energy reads. I do the Friday meditation videos. And then from time to time, as I feel messages need to come through, I will do videos like this. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Until next time.